I'm joined today by Eli Natoli. Eli is an international best-selling author, speaker, and marketing strategist, and she's worked with thousands of businesses to scale their profits to the tune of over $40 million in sales. And we are just very thankful to have Eli as a partner, and just wanted to ask you a few questions. Welcome, Eli.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your advice on a few things. Most of our audience are experts, authors, consultants, coaches, course creators. And so I just want to know, if you're somebody in the business of selling your expertise, why do you think they should consider pre-selling? I know that's something that you kind of specialize in, as pre-selling, as a pilot program. Why should our audience consider that?
It's actually, there's so many different reasons behind it. So I ventured into this whole area of selling training programs or selling expertise almost a decade and a half ago. And when I ventured into this, it was at a time that information was not readily available, right? So it was so much easier to like take everything you know on your area of expertise and put it together as an online course and get people to buy into it, right? But we have moved away from that era. Right now, we're not in the information era anymore because everywhere you look, you don't even have to search for information, it comes at you, right? So we're at the era of tell me how to do something, show me how to do something era. And it's really, really hard as an expert to be able to like figure out without like having some interactions with your clients, with your students, knowing exactly what it is that what path you're going to walk your clients through to give them that result. So a lot of times what happens is when people want to create an online course, they end up stuffing it with information. All right. So when you pilot your program for the first time, the way that you pilot it, the way you go about it, because those interactions are there, then you're sort of getting that feedback you need to be able to create a course that is not information based, but it is more result driven, basically. And you won't really get there. And this was something that like I've been selling courses for years, and when I first piloted my one of my courses, it was based off of a course that I had been selling for many, like 5 years prior to that. And when I did it as a case study, I wanted to show people how to like take their expertise and pilot it. And it was so eye-opening to me that when I was having those interactions during the pilot program, that I realized there were so many holes in my own program, in a course that I had been selling for many, many years. So that's one of the reasons that you definitely should consider piloting. The other reason is regardless of how much research you do, right? And I know there's so many different ways that you can do research, either by showing up to places where your audience goes to get answers to, to their problems, or interviewing your clients. Like there's so many different ways that you're being told to do your research to come up with a course topic idea. Regardless of how much research you do, it's still not bulletproof. That the topic that you're going to teach inside your course and the content that you're going to cover inside your course is going to be sellable, and it's going to be the thing that your clients want. Again, when you pilot your program, your course for the first time, then you sort of land in a predictable place of what it is that your clients want from you. And when you gather all that information, then you have this like solid and a bulletproof idea for your next course. So those are the main two reasons, but oh my God, there's so many other reasons. That's why I advise people not to create a course in a vacuum. They should definitely pilot it for the first time, pre-sell it for the first time.
It makes sense, and it almost seems like, why would you do it any other way? Because yeah, it takes the risk out, which is a huge thing that I know is a big barrier for people that might want to do it, and also just a huge frustration for anyone who has spent endless hours and money and just doing it and not getting the return. So yeah, my next question, what would you say are the key building blocks to building a thriving business selling online courses and other educational products?
That's an excellent question, actually. So to me, there are like three main building blocks to if you have this desire of building a business that is based on training, right? It's like selling your expertise. Three main things that you should be really focusing on. Number one, obviously, is your offer. And that offer has to be scalable, right? Again, that's like one of the areas that people sort of not they don't know what that means when we say sellable offers. They think like if they're selling their expertise in a one-to-one selling like a service or product which is like done for you or done with you, then all it takes is turn that into an online course, and that's it. They have a scalable offer. But it's more than that. A scalable offer is one that you're able to take various people, various like audience groups as it relates to your area of expertise, who are confronted with different circumstances, and reliably and predictably giving them the same result. So it's a tall order. It's not as easy as it sounds, right? So being able to take your expertise and turning it into an offer that is scalable and gets the same result for everybody, that's the first piece. The second piece is your marketing engine. So it takes a different strategy and a different way of interacting with your prospects to sell one-to-many offers like online courses, group programs, or membership than it does done for you or done with you one-on-one service or product. So having a reliable and predictable marketing engine that allows you to attract the right people and to be able to nurture them and to sell them, again, all of that on autopilot and having all the processes, that's the second piece that you have to really pay attention to. And the third part is how you're going to deliver your one-to-many offer in a way that, again, is result-driven. People are not going to, interact with it. Again, whether it's online course or group program or membership, whatever that offer is, that you're able to get results for every single person. So what's the mechanism? What's the delivery system? And it's not just about platforms or tools, but also the strategy that goes into that to be able to make your offer result driven. So these three core components you have to pay attention to and make sure that you have the right strategy and foundation in place to be able to get to that scalable or freedom-based online training business that you've been wanting to have. That's the power of piloting, because a lot of your focus is sort of on the marketing part of it, right? Because when you are creating an online course, a lot of the focus is on, I got to create this course that it's well-rounded, that it's solving the right problem, that it is profitable. So a lot of focus is on the offer itself. But when you pilot it, majority of your focus then shifts to the marketing part of it. Like, how do I sell this pilot? And how do I get that result when I pilot it? So it's sort of, that's how you end up having this balanced approach to getting all those three core components come together reliably versus the other way around.
Again, it makes sense. It seems very like, why would you do it any other way? But again, I know it's always easy when you have an idea or you're an expert in a certain area to just start building something that you can share that, but it's not necessarily, when you're building something that you want to make a profit on, you have to think of it as a true it's like a puzzle, and you have to have all the pieces in place if you want it to make sense and come together and doing it. So yeah, my last question is the online course kind of learning landscape is constantly evolving. We've got, of course, these huge constant things with technology and AI and things that are just totally disrupting things for course creators in particular and content creators. But so how do you have to think about kind of this market and our work differently than you did, say, like 5 years ago, in order to succeed?
So I think the main thing, one of the biggest thing that everyone should pay attention to, again, comes back to the first, when we started this, is be very careful not to approach your course creation as if you're giving people information, right? Because nobody's after information. And that really, there's a lot that goes into that, right? When I look at, as an expert, like if you want to think about like what you bring into the table, it's people are not after what you know, but people are after how you translate what you know. So being very in tune with like what that is, how do you take a certain information and how do you translate that and how do you position that, right? There's so many other people in my space who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, but if you take a look at, every one of our approaches, every one of us come at it differently, right? It's because of the way we're translating the information. So, and that takes a little bit of a fine tuning and also discovery, really going in deep and thinking about like what you bring into the table. And that has everything to do with who you are, what you've been through, your experiences, your beliefs, your values, your expertise in terms of, your career, your passions, all of that. Like, how does all of that come together as it relates to this topic that you want to turn into an online course? And how do you translate that? Because there are going to be people who are going to resonate with the way you translate that information. And the more in tune you are with that, the easier it is that people are going to resonate with you. So that's the first part of it. And the bigger question here that you pointed out, Jackie, is, how do you move with the way that everything's moving? That's exactly right? This industry is constantly changing and it is growing, right? And there's especially in the age of AI right now, that everybody's talking about, like, create your course in 2 days or in 48 hours. Go to ChatGPT and have it create your course content or what have you. And it's a big concern for a lot of people. But to me, the people who actually are strategic about course creation, people who are not seeing themselves as commodity, people who are in tune with like how they translate that information, what they bring into the table, and how they're different, what they know, and the result they get is different than everybody else. They're the ones that even when they do leverage tools like AI, they're still going to be ahead of the game here, right? I'm actually in the process right now of launching a course about LinkedIn marketing for B2B businesses. And majority of this course content was created with the help of AI. It wasn't created with AI, but it was created with help of AI. And a lot of places that they were my weaknesses, right? So, so that's how like you can take or leverage tools like AI. So one of my biggest weaknesses has always been when I create courses is like, what supplementary material or supporting documents can I give to my students so they can put into action what I'm teaching them? And like trying to figure those out, like those were the parts that really took a long time for me. And being able to leverage a tool like ChatGPT and say, okay, this is the lesson that I have. Can you help me come up with like different ways of adding supplemental materials or supporting stuff to help my students put into practice what I just taught them, and have ChatGPT like parse out all these different suggestions, like give them a workshop about this or give them this toolkit about this. It's amazing. It's a game changer, right? So when you know how to use tools like ChatGPT to strengthen your offer or the way that you're positioning your offer, it's absolutely a game changer. And but if you are relying on tools like that, and there are going to be a lot of people in your niche and your topic or going in your space, we're going to do that. They're going to use tools and softwares and different things in the wrong way. And the best way I can put it is they're just going to end up, their offer is going to be just a juice box, generic juice box next to all the other juice boxes in the supermarket. So if you want your offer to stand out, then start with that strategy and, knowing that what you bring into the table, and make sure you're the one who's coming up with that strategy, and use, the tools and platforms to help you get there much faster. And you will definitely be ahead of the game that way.
Yeah, I love that. Just you don't want to be the generic juice box. Why should people want to follow you and trust you? So again, being strategic and intentional about showing that human element of who you are, and using those tools as a They're tools. Well, Ellie, thank you so much. I again just encourage folks to go learn more about you. Is there anywhere I should send people to learn more?
Absolutely. So my website is the best place. I post a ton of, and I do have a ton of resources on pre-selling and all that research that goes into being able to pilot and pre-sell your online course, your next program.
Great. And I will put a link in there for people to check you out. So, well, thanks again, Ellie. So much information. We just really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
Thanks.